When my parents called to tell me that we were going to my childhood friend's house to meet his blind date partner, my childhood friend, Alex, was sound asleep beside me. I thought it was a joke and said softly, "Alex, they said they found a blind date partner for you." He let out a lazy and pulled me into his arms, saying, "Dear Edith, later you can pick out a set of clothes for me and help me do a hairstyle." Seeing that I was frozen and not moving, Alex opened his eyes and sneered. "What's wrong with you? Aren't we just bedmates? You don't think I'm going to marry you, do you?" Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I was stunned for a moment and could only awkwardly start to move around in a flurry. I didn't dare to look at Alex. After pushing him away, I picked up the clothes on the floor and put them on haphazardly. "Edith, look at me." Alex propped his chin with his arm, his eyes full of amusement. "You don't really think we're a couple, do you?" My mind was filled with the words bedmates, my hands were trembling, and I couldn't fasten the buttons of my underwear. Alex lifted the quilt, revealing his lean and sexy waist muscles. He knelt on the edge of the bed, he reached out and skillfully helped me fasten the buttons. I lowered my head and asked, "Who is the blind date partner?" With a bitter smile, I added, "I hope it's not someone randomly picked by Alex's father and auntie from the blind date corner." Looking at the speckled red marks on my body in the mirror, I still felt soreness in my legs. Alex was only wearing gray sweatpants. He walked closer and buried his head in my neck. "It's Irene." He raised his beautiful peach-shaped eyes and repeated, "The senior female student from the art department in college, Irene, you know. I'm actually quite nervous at the thought of seeing her." My hand holding the lipstick froze. Of course I remembered. Alex had a crush on her, but before he could confess, he heard that Irene had gone abroad. I thought all that was in the past. Alex stared at me, pursed his lips, and said, "Edith, don't have any wrong ideas about me. We've known each other since we were kids. Although you're really beautiful, I regard you as a brother. You're my most compatible partner for meals, rides, and beds." I felt as if I had been hit on the head. I was icy cold all over. Looking at Alex's smile, I forced a smile in return. He continued, "Moreover, I know exactly what clothes you wear at any time, even which set of underwear you'll match. It's really boring. Sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night and see you sleeping beside me, I'm actually quite scared. I'm afraid that if what we joked about with our families actually came true and we got married, my whole life would be so predictable, right?" After saying that, he shivered. It seemed that just the thought of this made him tremble with fear. I pinched my palm hard, trying my best not to let the tears fall. "I have something else to do." After saying that, I wrapped myself in my coat and left in a hurry like a deserter. I thought Alex and I were in a relationship. After all, we were like most couples. We ate together, went on dates, had dinners with friends, and during Truth or Dare, we would kiss each other's lips generously and say "I love you." Alex would pick me up and drop me off at work every rainy day. He would also secretly hold my hand under the dining table during family dinners. I didn't know that what I thought was a half-year relationship was actually just a game of make-believe. "Edith." My mom knocked on the car window and leaned in with concern. I woke up instantly, looking at myself in the rear-view mirror with a face full of tears. I panicked and responded. Then I wiped my face and got out of the car. "Mom." I was afraid that my mom would see my embarrassed state, so I threw myself into her arms and smiled. "I missed you." My mom was carrying groceries and took my arm. She seemed to heave a sigh of relief. "You child, why are you sitting in the car instead of going home? You scared me. Haven't you seen the news about people suffocating in cars?" I nodded. Suddenly, my mom changed the topic. "Oh, right, Edith. Alex's blind date partner will come later, this time. Alex's father and auntie take it very seriously. I heard that Alex has carefully planned and arranged this for a long time." Alex also said that he's afraid the girl will feel uncomfortable, and having you, a girl, around can make her less embarrassed. "You're Alex's mother and I have been good friends for so many years. Today, when we go," my mom looked at me with some hesitation, as if she wanted to say something but held back. I said and forced a smile. "Don't worry, Mom. It's just about livening up the atmosphere and saying nice things. I understand." My mom looked at me with pity. Yes, the photo of Alex and me was placed on the bedside table. Everything he gave me, I had kept as precious treasures, not to mention the love that couldn't be hidden in the densely written notes in my notebook. How could my mom not understand? We walked home quietly. The moment we opened the door, I suddenly said, "Next month, when Dad retires, let's move to Hainan to settle down." I looked at my surprised mom and smiled, acting coquettishly. You've always been planning to retire there. Anyway, I don't have big dreams. I can be a dance teacher and just stay by your side. Sitting in Alex's house with my parents this time felt different. Before, we were always joking and playing around. Even last time, we secretly kissed in his bedroom under the pretext of playing games. This time, oh, you don't know how much effort this brat, Alex, has put into chasing this Irene. Why not just pursue her directly? But he insisted on saying that he wants to date her with marriage as the premise. He even asked Alex's father to use his connections so that she could come to meet as a blind date partner today. I looked at the elaborately decorated house, filled with roses. There were fruits, candies, and tea on the table. Even Alex's puppy was wearing bright red clothes. And Alex was checking himself in the mirror again and again to see if he was perfect enough. It was ridiculous that last night we were still making love, and he was passionately kissing the red mole on my waist. Moreover, the underwear he was wearing now was bought by me. Alas, it's a pity. Irene's mom took my mom's hand and said with regret, when we were young, we said we'd be in-laws in the future and even made a baby betrothal for the two kids. Irene's mom glanced at me. I really like Edith. She's not only beautiful, but also has a good personality. She's lively and cheerful. I lowered my eyes, not daring to respond. I was afraid that if I wasn't careful, my tears would fall patter, patter. Mom, Alex frowned, looking very unhappy. You said it yourself. That was something from your generation. If you and Edith's mom are so good, why don't you marry her? What does it have to do with me? What era is it now? Don't talk about old-fashioned ideas. He didn't care about the elders' feelings at all. He turned to look at me, his tone harsh, as if Alex's mother's words were what I had asked her to say. Edith, where's the bracelet my mom gave you? Seeing that I didn't respond, Alex directly came up and grabbed my wrist, pulling up my sleeve. The one that was supposed to be the token of the baby betrothal. I'm afraid Irene will be unhappy if she knows about it. Before he could finish speaking, Alex's father and my dad, who were drinking tea, stopped, and my mom, who was busy arranging flowers for Alex, also stopped. In an instant, the atmosphere became extremely awkward. My mom looked at me, and the vase and scissors in her hand dropped onto the table with a clang. She was about to stand up when Alex's mother quickly pulled her back. Alex's mother stood up briskly and forcefully blocked in front of me, pushing Alex hard. Alex, what are you doing? Not to mention that you and that Irene haven't even started yet. That bracelet was something you cried and knelt down to beg Edith to wear when you were 17. Alex seemed to finally come to his senses. He remembered that someone had confessed to me that year. He was so anxious that he secretly drank alcohol, stole the bracelet in the middle of the night, and cried and made a scene at my house, even kneeling down and begging me to wear the jade bracelet passed down in his family. He tugged at his tie, took a deep breath, and then smiled at me. I was just too nervous. There's no reason to take back something I've given away. You can keep it. It's okay. I'll return it to you. I'll go home and get it now. I stood up and interrupted, my tone calm. I'll be quick and won't delay. Before anyone could react, I picked up my bag and left in big steps. When I came back with the bracelet, just as I was about to knock on the door, I was startled by the cheers. Welcome. Alex's smile froze when he saw me. Why are you? He seemed to not expect that I would come back, nor that I would really return the bracelet to him. When I handed the bracelet to him, Alex looked completely disbelieving. Finally, he took it and whispered in my ear, Edith, for the sake of our being such compatible partners, don't cause any trouble for me today. Irene is a girl with a sensitive mind. Don't say anything wrong to make her unhappy. I didn't want to pay attention to him. Was Irene the only girl? What about me? Looking at the person I had loved throughout my youth, a bone-chilling coldness almost engulfed me. 10 minutes later, Irene, led by the matchmaker, entered Alex's house. The elders were chatting and getting along well. This was also the reason why both my parents came, in the subtle greetings. They told the matchmaker about our family background and future plans. During this time, Alex sat beside Irene, showing care in every gesture. A man in his late 20s was acting like a shy young lad. There was really nothing for me to do, and I was happy to be at ease, planning to find an opportunity to slip away. Unexpectedly, Irene suddenly looked at me gently. This must be Edith, right? I've heard a lot about you. You were the goddess of the art department back then. suddenly being mentioned. I quickly waved my hands. No. It was just something everyone joked about in school. I thought everyone would soon shift their attention, but Irene wouldn't let it go. No way. You danced a classical dance at the prom, and the next day, there were flowers all over the place downstairs of your dormitory. Before I could speak, Irene coquettishly tugged at Alex's arm. You two grew up together. Why didn't you get together? I remember you two were so close that everyone thought you'd get married. Everyone's eyes turned to me. I don't know how to describe it. Irene, who seemed harmless, made me feel an inexplicable sense of hostility. Alex looked at Irene and handed her the peeled apple in his hand. In your eyes, she's a girl, a goddess even, but in my opinion, she's just a tomboy, a good buddy I grew up with, as if remembering something. Alex chuckled. You don't know, when Edith was a kid, when she cried, her snot and tears would flow together. If I hadn't wiped her nose, it would have flowed into her mouth. And when Edith was 15, she fainted during a PE class while running and was talking nonsense, waving her arms around. I have something to do and I'm leaving. I tried my best to hold back my anger, stood up, and forced a smile at the elders. You all continued chatting. Irene looked at Alex with some embarrassment. Did I say something wrong to make my sister unhappy? Alex glared at me angrily, as if blaming me for ruining the atmosphere. Before he could speak, I said first, I have a date with my boyfriend tonight. If I don't leave now, it'll be too late. When did you get a boyfriend? Just as my left foot stepped out of the door, Alex grabbed me. How come I don't know? In front of so many people, especially with Irene there, my face turned red. I tried to break free forcefully. Whether I have a boyfriend or not has nothing to do with you, I said angrily. My parents haven't even asked yet. Why do you care, Alex? Alex's father said in a low, serious voice. Sit properly. What a way to behave. I took the opportunity to bow to the elders. Goodbye, uncle and auntie. Behind me, Irene's sweet voice sounded. Edith is so beautiful and often performs on stage. There must be many suitors around her. It's normal for her to be in a relationship. Just now, I saw a hickey under her scarf, realizing that what she said was inappropriate. She paused and said apologetically, maybe we art students have different personalities. We painters are more quiet, while you dancers are more open, but I respect every girl's choice. I didn't listen to what they discussed about me later. I usually dress in a relatively bold style. She was just trying to praise herself by belittling me, and as for Alex, I could imagine how he would put me down. However, they didn't know that although I made up having a boyfriend, I was serious about leaving here and moving to Hainan. I started researching houses there and thinking about how to solve my job problem after moving there. I threw myself into all these things, keeping myself busy so that I wouldn't have time to think about Alex. We grew up together. He had always played the role of the warm-hearted big brother next door. He would stand up for me when someone bullied me when I was 10. I was so naughty that I begged Alex to play with me at the amusement park until 9 o'clock. Our parents were so worried that they called the police. Finally, they found us playing house in the sandpit and took us home. He took the blame for me, saying that it was all his fault. That night, Alex's father was so angry that he hit him more than 10 times with a feather duster. I cried and said that it was actually me. But Alex raised his eyebrows and insisted that it was his fault. Later, I grew more and more beautiful, and he became more and more handsome. We became the golden couple in everyone's mouth. I thought I had the most smooth-sailing life script. When are you free? Alex's message popped up. I wiped away my tears. Before I could type a question mark, Alex, come and pack up your things at my place. I'm inviting Irene over in a few days. I took a deep breath and calmed down. 24 hours ago, we were still snuggling together in our little nest, watching a love movie. When the mood was intense, we even made love until midnight. And now, I gave a bitter smile. I unpinned Alex from the top of my chat list and simply replied with one word, okay. That day, I locked myself in the room. Not long after I came back, my parents returned. Hainan is thousands of miles away. It'll be troublesome to come back once we really move there, my mom said, looking at me cautiously, and my dad, hiding behind the newspaper, was secretly observing me too. I put on my coat. The climate there is nice. Isn't your dream to settle down there after retirement? I smiled and put my arm around my mom's shoulder. It's just that there aren't very suitable jobs there. I'm thinking about opening a dance studio. As for whether I'll have the opportunity to perform in the future, you know I don't really care. But my mom frowned and opened her mouth. Edith, you. I looked down at the time. Okay. I'm serious. I'm fine and very clear-headed. don't worry about me. Instead, you should think about the money issue. I kissed my mom's cheek lightly. I have something else to do. I'm leaving now. I thought that perhaps time and separation would smooth out the pain. I became much calmer. My pious and passionate love, though not spoken out, didn't make me lose face either. I thought Alex and I would part amicably, but I didn't expect that I couldn't get into the door. I stood at the door, entering the password again and again. Incorrect password, incorrect password. Anger flared up in my heart instantly. After knocking with no response, I regained my rationality. Then I remembered to call Alex. After a series of busy tones, the call was hung up. After making the fifth call, Alex sent a message. On a date, don't disturb. I took a deep breath and held back from swearing. The password. The next second, a big red exclamation mark stabbed my eyes. Alex actually deleted me. I rubbed my temples. I originally wanted to leave, but the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I simply found a locksmith. I was holding a grudge. I went to Alex's house and said to Alex's mother that the property management needed to file for record and required the property ownership certificate. Alex's mother didn't ask any questions and directly handed it to me. What would Alex do without you? Then, realizing she had said the wrong thing, she forced a couple of awkward laughs. I took the certificate and found the locksmith again. After an hour, I finally stood in the home where I had lived for nearly a year. I still remembered that when I moved in, Alex stood at the door with his hands in his pockets. Edith, welcome home. I looked around the house, the carefully cultivated small plants, the short skirt hanging on the balcony, the cosmetics in the bathroom, and the ceremonial tableware. I got up decisively, picked some high-end clothes, brand name bags, and skin care products. As for the furniture and furnishings that Alex and I bought together, I rolled up my sleeves and smashed them all. When everything was in a mess, I was exhausted. Just as I was about to leave, Alex came back with several bags of groceries. He stood there in a daze at the door, then he backed out and checked the house number. After a full 5 minutes, he turned red with anger. Edith, are you fucking crazy? I shrugged. You changed the password, didn't answer my calls, and didn't reply to my messages. Alex tiptoed through the mess in the living room. After putting the things in the refrigerator, he rubbed his temples and explained, I was on a date with Irene at that time. If she heard us always talking on the phone, what would she think of me? My heart still skipped a beat involuntarily. I used to always say I wanted to date him seriously, but he always evaded the topic. We're getting along well. Irene has a gentle temper, and I need to treat her seriously and take things step by step. She's different from you, so I don't talk on the phone with other girls when I'm with her. He sighed and looked at me with a smile in his eyes. Edith, haven't eaten yet, right? I'll cook now. Have a meal before you leave. After saying that, as if afraid I would refuse, he continued on his own. Consider it a farewell meal. Give me some face. I looked at his busy figure, sniffed, and my eyes became hot and sour. An hour later, I confirmed that there was nothing else I wanted to take away from this house. Alex also finished cooking and brought the dishes to the table. There was a full table of food. I thought that maybe we could still meet and act like ordinary friends in the future, considering our many years of friendship. I reached out my hand, just about to pick up some food, when I was startled by Alex's shout of "Don't move." He trotted over in a hurry and handed me a small round plate. Just take a small bite of each dish. I'll take the rest to Irene while it's still hot. Alex held the small plate, whose diameter was smaller than a palm. Quick, taste which one tastes the best. I'll pack more of the best tasting one. If there's one you don't like, I won't take it. I'll leave it for you. Slap. I threw down my chopsticks. His hand was still in mid-air. I stood up abruptly, and the stool made a sharp and ear-piercing sound as it scraped across the floor. My voice was choked with sobs. Alex, you know what? I didn't see you as just a partner. I really liked you. The love words I said before. I looked at him with red eyes. They were all serious. I ignored his stunned expression and turned to leave. But now I finally understand how stupid I was before. From that day on, I completely let go of Alex. I wholeheartedly planned the move to Hainan with my parents in the past few days. After finishing the handover of my work, I started to learn about the operation and management of a dance training studio and professional further education. When I received the invitation to the class reunion, my dad had already sold the old house in the suburbs, raised enough money, and was ready to pay the deposit for the new house. The classmate who organized this event had wide connections and was very popular, so there would be quite a few people tonight. Of course, including Alex. Without hesitation, I replied in the group. Edith will attend. After all, there were still many things I didn't understand and needed to ask everyone for advice. I dressed up as usual and arrived at the venue on time, as expected. I saw Alex and Irene. I didn't want any trouble, so I sat in the corner farthest from them. I don't know if it was because the light above my head was too dim, but when Alex was chatting with the classmates at the table behind me, he didn't notice me at all. Old Alex, I really didn't expect it. You finally got Irene, but what happened to you and your little childhood friend? You only care about women and ignore your brothers. You haven't had a drink with us for over half a month. Did you break up? Just like that, I heard Alex casually answer with an I felt very calm in my heart. I continued to talk to the senior sister beside me and even exchanged contact information. Do you remember when we bet how many days it would take old Alex to win over the department beauty? I remember. It was a week, right? So many people were eyeing Edith, that beautiful girl who can sing, dance, and is so pretty. The key is that she didn't like anyone, but when old Alex made a move, he got her in a week. I listened to their drunken banter. I clenched the wine bottle tightly. 5 seconds later, Alex said softly, "Not really." His voice was low but firm. It was 5 days. I suddenly lost my strength. Finally, I heard him say, "When you mention it, I actually miss her quite a bit now." I stood up. I was blocked by Irene, who appeared suddenly. "Edith, long time no see." She casually put her arm through Alex's and smiled sweetly, looking extremely gentle. I smiled politely, put the wine bottle in my hand on the ground, took a deep breath, and then focused on my conversation with the senior sister again. I didn't notice that Alex was looking at me from behind, and his gaze lingered for a long time. I drank 2 glasses of red wine and was still quite sober. When I went to the bathroom, I touched up my makeup. By the way, everyone said we were going to visit our teacher later, including my highly respected leader of the dance association. She had always thought highly of me when I was in school, and I definitely had to go. After making sure my makeup was perfect, I pushed the door open. Edith, Irene, in a white dress, walked up gracefully. I replied, "Hello." Just as we were about to pass by each other, she suddenly grabbed my wrist. I felt a sharp pain and tried to pull my hand back, but I found that she, who looked extremely delicate, was incredibly strong. Irene looked around. Seeing no one, she leaned close to my ear and said, "You lived with Alex for over half a year. I suddenly came back from abroad and disrupted everything. You must be very angry, right?" I was shocked. So she knew everything, but then I quickly regained my composure. I always thought we were in a cohabiting relationship like a couple, not like I was some mistress getting in the way. I didn't feel ashamed, worried about something unexpected. I secretly turned on the recording. I tilted my head to look at her and forcefully shook off her hand. "So what, Sister Edith, is really," Irene said softly, "you served my fiancé for over a year for free, doing your best. I really should thank you." Her previous weak and innocent look was completely gone. Her eyes were filled with blatant provocation. "But in the end, you got nothing. Alex is really something. He didn't even give you a proper title. People who know might think it's just not made public, but those who don't know might think you're a kept mistress or a woman who sleeps around. No wonder Sister Edith's dressing really looks like that. I have to ask Alex to have a good check-up. I hope you don't have any promiscuous diseases that could infect him." After saying that, she lifted my hair, pretending to check my clothes. "Did you come to the party today with nothing on under your clothes to seduce?" I couldn't bear it anymore. I raised my hand and swung my arm. I slapped her hard on her fair face. Slap. The sound was extremely clear. Irene covered her face and took 2 steps back, shouting loudly behind me, "Alex, help me." Hasty footsteps came from behind, accompanied by Alex's angry roar, "Edith." I didn't turn around. I took a step forward in my high heels and stepped directly on her canvas shoes. While Irene was pretending to cry for help from Alex, I grabbed her hair with one hand and slapped her face again with the other. "Are you crazy?" Alex grabbed my wrist, but I didn't let go of her hair, following his force. I pulled her hair back harder. Irene let out a wail. She was crying and shouting. She called me a mistress, a woman who sleeps around, and tried to pull my clothes to see what's inside. I explained to the crowd who didn't know the truth, my hand itching to take out my phone. "I have the recording." "Enough," Alex interrupted me angrily, forcefully holding me back. "You've disliked Irene from the beginning. Today, you took advantage of her being alone and deliberately hurt her. We all have eyes." We saw you hit her with our own eyes. He pulled me so hard that I stumbled. Look at Irene. She's been beaten like this by you. And you." Alex looked at me, unharmed. "You're not even hurt. Besides, I know your character. When you were a kid, you were so naughty that you dragged me to the amusement park until our parents called the police. In the end, it was me who cleaned up your mess. You're vengeful. You're angry that Irene snatched your... So you did this. Apologize to Irene." The people in the crowd looked at me with curiosity and disdain. I sneered. "Fine, I'll apologize." Alex loosened his grip. "You said you don't have a boyfriend. Last time, you even said you had one just to be spiteful." "I'll apologize," I murmured, and then suddenly shouted, "Apologize to your mother." I turned to Irene, who was hiding behind Alex, and slapped her hard on the other side of her face. I shook my wrist. "I'll send the recording to the group later." I stroked my slightly messy hair and showed my signature smile. "Welcome everyone to listen." That night, I went home. Later, I made an appointment with my teacher alone. After getting everything settled, I felt more confident, so I went all out. I didn't have time to pay attention to other things and focused on buying a house and opening a studio. I busily made arrangements for a month, then our whole family set off on the moving journey. On the plane, my parents couldn't hide their happiness. From then on, they could just enjoy their later years, and I would strive to be their support. "Alex has applied to add you as a friend." Verification message. "Where did you go?" Verification message. "I heard you moved. Is that just a rumor?" Verification message. "Please pass the verification." I was extremely annoyed. I blocked him without hesitation. Unexpectedly, half an hour later, Alex called from Alex's mother's phone. My mom looked at me with an expression of embarrassment. I couldn't refuse, so I picked up the phone. "My mom said you guys moved. It can't be true, right?" The familiar voice sounded, making me feel as if I was in a different world. Alex's voice was urgent. "You've lived here for decades. Besides, my mom also said she wanted to be best friends with your mom for a lifetime. Did someone misunderstand because you went on a trip?" I said in a calm tone. "We did move. We're thousands of miles away now, although we're renting a house for now. After the decoration is done and we air it out for a few months, we should be able to move in before the spring festival." However, there was no need to tell Alex all this. I just answered whatever he asked. After a long silence, thinking you might have left, I said, "Then I'll hang up." Alex said, "Wait," twice. Then in a soft voice like a child who had done something wrong, he said, "I apologized to you in the group about what happened with Irene that day. Did you not see it since you didn't reply?" How could I not have seen it? Just a few minutes after I sent the recording to the group, it exploded. Alex was forced to at me in the group and apologize. He also said he would talk to me in person when we met and that he would buy a gift to sincerely apologize. I didn't reply. When he brought it up, I answered, "I saw it." Before he could say anything else, I added, "Is there anything else?" Alex sounded very disappointed. After all, in the past, even if we hadn't seen each other for a few days, I would chatter non-stop to him. After a long while, with a tone of resignation, he said, "Are you still angry with me because of what happened with Irene? The time you said you had a boyfriend at first was just to get back at me, right? It's the same now. During the time you've been away, I've thought it over seriously. My feelings for Irene were just a passing fancy, and I can explain what happened with her. But my feelings for you, they are, Alex," I said indifferently, as if the person on the other end was just a stranger I met by chance. "Weren't we just partners? I hope you'll find an even more compatible partner in the future." I had a lot of things to do. Finally, I said, "Don't contact me anymore. You deleted me quite straightforwardly back then, but now you're being so clingy." After thinking for a moment, I added, "It's really annoying. I don't know if it was because of retirement or the fact that the climate here was really good for them, but my parents' complexions had improved a lot. If it weren't for the need to go back to handle the house transfer during the spring festival, they wouldn't even want to go back." "Well, I can go back and handle it myself," I said, looking at the documents in my hand. "I can manage it." My parents exchanged a look and said, "Forget it. We don't feel at ease." Coincidentally, the Alex family said we could celebrate the little New Year together after the gathering. We can rush back for New Year's Eve. The timing is just right. It had been almost half a year since I last saw Alex. It turned out that the person I once thought I couldn't live without wasn't that special after all. Edith is here. You've become even more beautiful. Your temperament is really good. You're so generous and nice. Alex's mother greeted me with her usual enthusiasm, taking my hand as soon as I entered the door. Look at this. Alex was uncharacteristically nervous. He was wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, standing at the back, smiling cautiously. Hello, Edith's dad, Edith's mom. Edith, you've lost weight. Have you been working hard? There was undisguised concern in Alex's eyes, and my reflection in them was still bright and confident. I gave him an awkward but polite smile and lowered my eyes, saying, Not really. I've been trying to control my weight. After a satisfying meal, there was inevitably an outpouring of deep emotions. Alex's mother hugged my mom and shed tears when she got to the point. Alex's mother gritted her teeth and said, Maylee, you know I really love Edith. I treat her like my own daughter. That Irene has been scheming against Alex from the beginning. When they were in college, Alex was young and a bit into her. She played hard to get and went abroad, expecting Alex to chase after her. As a result, Alex gave up. After graduating and starting work, he was always with Edith. Then she got jealous and engineered a reunion with Alex. What's that saying? The most sophisticated hunter often appears as the prey. Alex's mother laughed twice, and our Alex fell for it, didn't he? But fortunately, he realized his mistake as soon as you all left and he couldn't see Edith. This brat drank himself until he had a gastric hemorrhage and was hospitalized. He kept mumbling about Edith. Actually, it's not too late. The two kids aren't married yet, so there's still a chance. She waved her hand, and Alex immediately stood in front of me. Alex's mother commanded, Let Alex apologize to Edith in front of us adults. Kneeling and kowtowing would be fine too. I looked up at Alex. He was still as handsome as ever, but he did look a bit more haggard. His eyes were a bit red. Edith, I didn't cherish you. The one I've always loved is, Auntie, I have a boyfriend now, I said, retracting my gaze from Alex and smiling at Alex's mother. He has a great personality, and he treats me incredibly well. I'll definitely bring him to meet you guys if there's a chance next time. Alex's mother's smile froze, and she looked at Alex with a sad expression. Alex seemed to be on the verge of a breakdown. Impossible. Didn't we say we were going to get married? Have you forgotten? We grew up together. Since we were kids, we said we'd be husband and wife when we grew up. When we played house as kids, you were the mom and I was the dad. And we were together for almost a year. We were so happy. He could no longer maintain his previous restraint. Alex was even on the verge of sobbing. We almost got married, didn't we? You must be saying this out of anger, just like last time, right? My dad slapped the table and stood up. Are you saying Edith is lying to you? Do you think our whole family is lying to you? Drew is a great kid. He respects us a lot, although Edith just accepted his pursuit. Our whole family thinks they can make it to the wedding. Afraid that my dad would get too angry and hurt himself, I quickly stepped forward and gently stroked my dad's chest. Alex, stop bringing up the baby betrothal thing. It was just a casual joke from the elders. It doesn't count. You said it yourself. Have you forgotten? In the end, it ended in an unpleasant way. When we went out, big snowflakes were falling from the sky. Just as I got into the car, Alex, looking thin and frail, stood in the cold wind, looking at me with scarlet eyes. I was just caught up in a passing fancy and lost my mind. Only after losing you did I realize that everything I once took for granted was actually precious to me. Can you give me another chance, please? His voice was hoarse and trembling. Before I could say anything, I was attracted by a figure in the distance. Under the streetlight, a tall and slender man stood. His hair was already covered with white snow. I said in disbelief, Drew. The man turned around happily, even though the tip of his nose was red from the cold. He took out a bouquet of flowers from his arms and walked towards me with big steps. Didn't you say that you should watch the first snow with the person you love the most? I looked at him, heartbreaking. He had been working overtime to handle business affairs last night. Yet he flew here overnight because of a casual remark of mine. Drew smoothed the frown on my forehead. So here I am. After that, he bent down and said to my parents, uncle, and auntie, I haven't been drinking, I can drive. The scene was so warm that we all forgot Alex was still standing there. He stared woodenly at our affectionate embrace. Finally, he said softly, sorry. His voice was very low. Maybe he thought I didn't hear it, but in my heart, I silently said it was okay, not for myself, but for the once warm Alex who had once held me dear in his heart. Thank you, Mr. Driver, I said to the substitute driver. Then I prepared to walk to the hotel with Drew. I looked at Alex, who was so sad that he seemed to be falling apart. Well, Alex, goodbye. Then I turned around and nestled into Drew's embrace. As we turned to leave, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Alex collapse and kneel on the ground. However, that had nothing to do with us. Drew held me tightly in his arms, his chin gently resting on my head, and said affectionately, "If we can share the same snowfall someday, it's like we've grown old together in this life." He bent down and gently kissed my forehead, standing in happiness. I thought that the first thing to do was to learn to cherish. The end.